I frequently get asked questions, both in person and online, from people looking at buying their very first Lotus. So I thought I'd put together a brief video just collecting the general advice that you should always follow if you're looking to purchase your very first example of this iconic British marque. The first thing you need to do is to choose exactly which model it is that you want. Now that may sound obvious, but Lotus cars have a tendency to have very long production runs. And that means that even within a single model, you're going to find cars with wildly differing performance specs and price points. The Esprit, for example, was in production for 27 years, and the Elise has been on the production line at Hethel since 1996, and reports are that it may stay in production until 2022. And there's at least 3 distinct versions of that car. Once you've worked out the model that you want, the best place to find out about the differences between the many versions or series of that car will be in the many buyer's guides and owner's resources that are available online. Certainly cars like the Elise have really great support, and there's plenty of repositories of information available out there. Now, the heart and soul of any Lotus, of course, is how it drives. So you're going to want to get a test drive in your car, if not that exact one, then preferably one close to it as soon as you can to make sure that it is the car for you. Now, if you're in the UK, we're blessed with a very good dealer network. The ones that I have dealings with are Bell & Colville, where I recommend you speak to Jamie Matthews, Lotus Silverstone, where you can speak to Amy Mitchell, or Stratton Motor Company, where you can speak to Alex Brake. In Europe, you have Van der Kooi Sports Cars in the Netherlands, you have Comatech in Germany, and then further afield, you have Simply Sports Cars in Australia, and in the USA, the 2 dealers that I have personal relationships with will be Prestige Imports of Miami and Lotus of West Covina over on the West Coast. Now, I appreciate if you're in the USA, those 2 places may be very far away from you. There are, of course, other Lotus dealers, but if one of those isn't very close to you, here's what I suggest you do. And this really is the best advice I can give to anybody looking at buying a Lotus. Find your local Lotus owners. We have support groups for Lotus owners all across the world, and they are, on the whole, an incredibly friendly and supportive bunch, and they love seeing new faces come to the brand. I've been fortunate enough to attend meetings from as far as Hethel to California, where I was welcomed by the Golden Gate Lotus Club. Now, the best way to find your local Lotus meeting is to join either a Lotus club in your country or to go on a forum. Now, the 2 main forums for Lotus stuff are the Lotus forums, which is generally for people in the UK and Europe, or you'll also find Lotus Talk, which is more aimed at people in the USA. Speaking to Lotus owners in your local area will tell you 2 things. Firstly, you'll get an appreciation of what the models are like to live with in the real world. And secondly, you'll be able to find out who in your local area is best equipped to look after them. Because Lotus models do really benefit from specialist care. It may seem like it's a little more expensive than taking it to your average garage, but trust me, in the long run you will save a lot of money and your car will thank you for it. Now, if you're looking at purchasing a used Lotus, there are finally 2 things that I want to urge. Number 1, patience. I've seen a lot of traders try and pass off cars in bad condition and use the excuse, oh, it's a Lotus, of course. Or like, yeah, well, of course these panels don't fit properly. That's what they're like. No, that's not often the case. If a car seems like a bad car, be prepared to walk away. There are, unfortunately, bad examples out there and unscrupulous traders that are trying to pass them off. If you're concerned about a car, find your local Lotus specialist and arrange for a pre-purchase inspection. If the garage selling refuses to let that happen, I think you know what to do. Secondly, I'd urge you to be flexible. The fact of the matter is that Lotus simply isn't a volume manufacturer of cars. This week, Toyota are going to make more cars than Lotus have in their entire history. And I've seen so many people, when they're looking at buying something like a Porsche or a BMW, have the most insanely specific requirements of their new car. They want it to be in only a certain color, with a certain interior and a certain material and a certain specification and of a certain age, with a certain miles and a certain number of owners. And the fact is that that car that you really want simply may not exist. So please try and be realistic when you're looking for one, especially if you're in a market, for example, like the USA, where there are only a very limited number of certain models available. Other than that, get out there, get driving some cars, do as much research as you can, both offline, online. Feel free to look through my videos, through the videos of other Lotus enthusiasts, and just gather as much information as you can so you can make an informed purchase decision. I hope this video has been a little bit of help to you, and I really hope you enjoy your new Lotus. Bye-bye.